for Blumpkin and Friends, starring your host, the Reverend Johnny Blumpkin.
Hey kids, I'm the Reverend Johnny Blumpkin, and with me here today is my friend,
Other Neil,
aka Steiny. It is November now, so he better be prepared to freeze his balls off, because I have to turn the furnace down to record so it doesn't hum in the background.
that wasn't part of the deal when I came over.
You're wearing a sweatshirt, so don't be a vagina.
Well, just saying.
I wanted him to come in, and just like the Mr. Rogers style where you meet somebody and find out about their life and some stories about them, we're going to go down that route again. And then he is going to talk about when he was a mover.
Right, yep. For about a period of 9 years, I delivered furniture for one of the local furniture outlets that shall remain unnamed.
There we go.
And then I also did some house moves for a company I worked for on the side as well for a while. It was kind of interesting, not going to lie. You get to see the best and worst of people as far as where they live and everything else like that.
You could do that going to the state fair too, though.
They don't live at the state fair, do they?
No, but you see like happy people, you see couples fighting, you see fat bastards with cheese running down their chin. You see me walking around with goddamn burrito juice that stained my white t-shirt because the last bite leaked on me.
And of course you have that great demeanor as you always do and look of happiness on your face.
Yeah, well, then I can blame it on the stain.
Instead of the kids and the people.
Right, right. Tell me about some of the oddest or grossest homes you encountered.
All right, well, I mean, to start out, I mean, a lot of your stories, at least a lot of my stories, seem to have occurred in my first few years of working there. It's like all the crazy stuff really happens there. And once you kind of get used to the job, you don't pay attention to this kind of weird stuff anymore. But, like I said, you'd run the full scale of houses, either, the crappiest of the crap, hoarder houses, or, the nicest of the nice, these elaborate mansions on Lake Minnetonka. And a couple of them that stick out as far as the bad ones was... This was early on in my career. I was delivering just a simple mattress and box spring set to a home in Apple Valley. And the guy that answered the door looked like he hadn't bathed in weeks. And normally when we bring these things in, we just bring them through the front door. We bring them up into the room. We'll set it up for you. We'll place it and then be on our merry way. This guy didn't want us to come into the house at all. He's like, nope, I'll open up the garage. You guys can bring it in downstairs. I'm like, oh, okay. Thinking this guy just wants it in a lower level. Maybe it's easier to go through the garage. A lot of times you don't ask what specific instructions people have because they know their house better than you. So.
And why get into an argument with somebody?
Yeah, that happens a lot. So we go to bring it in, and we enter through the garage, go into his lower level through the garage door, and he has a path through the crap to this back corner. We're not even putting it into the room. We're just basically putting the mattress and box spring on top of other crap in his lower level. And, we're used to seeing houses that were messy. This guy, though, he had a full aquarium with what must have been fish in there at one point in time, but the fish had long since died, and the water had gone from the top level of the aquarium down to about an inch of sludge on the bottom of this thing. There was all sorts of stuff growing in there. I have no idea what. He had bags that were filled with, looked like paper that you'd put down for a dog or an animal, that he would just shove the piss-filled and shit-filled papers back in the bag. He had dirty diapers. I mean, apparently there was a child that lived in this home too. I mean, it was absolutely disgusting. Plates of food all over the place.
Maybe somebody should have brought in a cadaver dog to sniff around the backyard for those missing babies.
Could have been somebody underneath all that. You never know. But then there was always, some of the fun houses too were the ethnic homes that you'd go to, where they were in a
ethnic homes. Right. Air quotes. That's my air quote voice.
Well, at least when you say ethnic, that can run a whole gambit of ethnicities. You don't have to specify one, but in this case I will talk about they were Indian families.
With a feather or a dot?
Dot.
Okay.
Especially, I don't know if you're aware, but in the south and southwest parts of the cities, there is a heavy Indian population. Kind of like there's a lot of Somalis in, kind of the Riverview area of Minneapolis, there are a lot of Indians that live down in like Apple Valley, Eden Prairie, Chaska, those types of places. But I don't know what it is about their cooking, what it is about their spice, but we went into this one home, right? And I started getting a headache right away. And I thought maybe it was just curry, whatever spice they use, just too extreme, right? Chutney, I'm not sure what it is. And I'm like, you know what? We're in there and I'm like, gosh, it really smells like natural gas. Like whatever reek there is, there's this underlying smell of natural gas.
What an ironic time for me to have just farted.
Surprise!
Yeah.
Did that get to you yet?
No, thank God. I think it stayed somewhere over there on that
It
half
won't.
of the room.
It's coming.
As long as I can't taste it.
Natural
I really can't
gas.
breathe through my nose too well at this time of year. I get all congested. But anyway, we go in there and we can't really communicate well with these people, but from the gist of it, I understand they want this reclining sofa downstairs. It won't fit. So we have to take it apart. And I'm in there with the drill, an electric drill, taking the metal frame apart off this reclining sofa so we can get it downstairs. You can take those things apart and get them just about anywhere. And so we were in there, take it apart, get it set up downstairs. I'm getting a massive headache at this point in time. I'm like, I got to get out of here. Whatever they've got going on in their house is just terrible. We go to leave, right? And I'm packing up the back of the truck, getting ready to close the door and take off to the next stop. And this lady shows up in a car, basically waving her arms going, what are you doing? Are they in there? Meaning the family, the people who apparently just bought this house. And I'm like, yeah, we just completed a delivery. We just delivered a reclining sofa to them. She's like, oh my God, nobody's supposed to be in there. There's a major gas leak. And so I'm thinking in my head going, I was just in there with an electric drill that sparks, produces the sparks, all this stuff. I could have blown us all to heaven or hell. But luckily that didn't happen. But I mean, there's a couple other stories, but it seems like the Indians, most part, I mean, you go into their houses and you will reek like whatever spice, whatever they've been cooking all day long.
That's the same thing that happens if you go into Subway.
Oh, yeah.
You can't even go in there to take a piss real quick without walking out smelling like bread and sandwiches.
I haven't been to Subway in probably about 3 years now.
You're not missing much.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think I am. It was not that great back then. I can't imagine they've improved it any since then.
Well, no, snobs now are like, oh, you're going to go to the Subway? I'm going to go to Witch or one of those other fucking stupid sandwich shops.
What is it? Milio's?
Oh, God damn it. Jersey Mike's. Okay, what? Fucking, I don't know.
There's Five Guys hamburgers, but I think you're thinking of Jersey Mike's as far as the sub place.
It could be. I don't get out much.
It's frustrating.
Beyond the Indian homes, what else you got for me? Gross homes, anything?
I'm trying to remember some specific ones, and there was a couple hoarder homes. I mean, you could say that first guy was a hoarder, but there were ones where literally you are walking a path. And I'm not a big guy, right? I'm not a wide guy, and I'd have difficulty maneuvering through some of these homes. It was an old lady off of East River Road one time, and we were there to just deliver a simple little twin bed to her. She was there living by herself. And we got in there, and she had stacks of magazines that looked like they hadn't been moved in 20 years. I mean, just stacks of shit, just piling up on itself. A weird, crooked path to walk through her living room, through the dining room, into the back hallway, past the bathroom, and into her little tiny bedroom. And no room at all to maneuver, and no space. And we get there, and she's desperately trying to clean up her little room, vacuum under her bed where her bed used to be, because she never gets a chance to clean under there normally. So we move the old bed, she gets into there, cleans it, and we set up her new bed. And the whole time I'm doing this, I'm moving other stuff out of the way. I'm moving crap out of the way so we can bring in her new stuff. And I'm looking on the walls, and I'm seeing pictures of her with, looks like she has 2-3 siblings, which they then in turn have kids, so she's got grandchildren. And I'm like thinking in my head, where are these people? Does nobody come and visit you anymore? Does nobody help you out? Has nobody... I mean, I started kind of getting angry at her family, because this little old lady could not have picked up this stuff. She couldn't have moved this stuff. It's basically growing around her.
Oh, lovely.
All this clutter, all this junk. And I mean, you just kind of routinely see that kind of stuff, and you kind of move on and you forget about it.
You don't still have old issues of Nintendo Power laying around from 25 years ago?
Well, if I really wanted to play Legend of Zelda 2 Link to the Past and have all the maps laid out for me again, maybe I'd have to go find those. But
'Cause-
I haven't had any call to play that game lately.
I'm sure she's going to crack open like an old issue of Time to reread anything about the Nixon administration. Laying in the bed you just brought her, which, by the way, I'd like to point out, is the bed she's probably going to die in.
Yeah, I had thought about that as well after I left. Yep, I'm like, that's the last bed she'll ever own.
Ray of sunshine.
Yeah. Actually, I've had a lot of customers say that too. Like, the old guys jokingly say, "Oh, this is the bed I'm going to die in," or "This is the last one of these I'll ever own," and you just kind of go, "Ha ha ha." Because what do you say to that?
Yeah, I'd be like, no, you're fine.
You'll live forever.
You're fine. Yeah. People live to like 106 now. You're not. Oh, you have kidney failure. Oh, well, fucking A. Try not to shit the thing before you croak because somebody else is going to get it.
Stage 3 cancer. Oh, sorry, sir.
Oh.
Yeah, so I mean those were some of the bad ones. I mean, you'll get the ones, I guess they're sometimes bad just because of the people, not necessarily the house. Mm-hmm. You'll get the ones where instantly people want to argue with you, or they want to specifically tell you how you're going to bring the furniture in, which to a point I can understand, but at the same point in time, I do this for a living, day in, day out. I'm going to bring it in the best way that it can be brought in. You don't need to tell me. I already know.
See, but that's the thing, though. As the consumer, the customer's always right. They know their home better than you do, so they think, this is how I would do it. And then you show up with expertise and a lot of experience. You've got the logistics down. You're a problem solver on the move. You got to do that shit. Like, we worked at Menards together.
Yes. I was actually going to bring that up just now. Yep.
Sometimes you got to figure out how you're moving pallets through the store, how you're moving displays up through the registers, how you're going to pack shit into customers' cars.
Yep.
And it's like fucking playing reverse Jenga. Well, I suppose it's like playing patio furniture Tetris.
Yeah. Yep. I remember that. Yeah.
So, I mean, these are skills that you continued to hone. I kind of gave mine up, but like after the state fair, I went to our old store to see if anybody I knew was working because,
good luck.
Well, it's right by where the bus dropped us off from the state fair. So I'm walking out in the parking lot, and there's these people with a fucking grill on a flat cart, and they're like right next to my car. I'm like, oh my God, he's gonna fucking hit my car.
Right, you just know it.
I'm like, you know what? I will move out of the way, and then within 10 seconds, you'll have much more room. He's like, oh, and then the wife goes, well, I don't suppose you want to help us put it in there. I'm like, you know what? I will do that. She's like, oh, what? The guy's like, oh, you don't have to. I'm like, no. I used to work here. I used to do this shit all the time.
Right. It's no skin off my back. Yeah.
And it was a grill for his daughter for her wedding present, and I got it into the back. I don't know how the fuck I did that, but I did it.
Nice. See, you talk about how you don't use those skills anymore, but sometimes they just never go away.
It's like riding a bike.
Yep. Well, and I was going to point that out when you were saying that, a lot of times you're doing kind of diplomacy when it comes to a homeowner. There was many a time where they would come in, and like you said, customer's always right. I used to make a joke when we worked retail, and I said, no, the customer is always wrong. You just have to pretend that they're right, which is really how it is.
That's nicer than what I would say. I'd go, no, the customer is always an asshole. Leave me alone.
Yeah. You also were finite. You knew you weren't going to stay there very long.
Right.
Yeah. That was kind of the joy of getting away with that kind of stuff.
I wasn't cut from the career retail cloth.
So, but I had a couple arguments with customers over the years. Nothing too bad, nothing too major. I'm trying to remember some of them here. Let's see.
That's paper he's unfolding because I told him to jot. We scheduled this over a week ago, about a week ago, and I'm like, okay, make some notes.
Okay. Well, here we go. I mean, you would run into those times where people would be like, "It's gonna fit." No. Did you try this? You know what I mean? When you got to, let's say you got a larger piece of furniture, you had to deliver, and almost invariably, there was a stretch in time where I swear our salespeople at the furniture place sold customers who had the smallest homes, smallest apartments. They would sell them the biggest furniture. I don't know what it was, but there was a stretch there where we could not get hardly anything to fit. And so customers, right? Well, customers obviously don't want that. They've spent all this time. They came into the showroom. They've selected it. It's expensive. Furniture is not inexpensive. It may be cheaply made, but it's all expensive. I don't care what you say. And so there's many times where you'd show up and they'd be like, well, the salesperson told me it would fit.
What?
They're a salesperson.
Right. The salesperson in the showroom looked at this piece of furniture, and you roughly told them what your house looked like, and they said it would fit. because they're an expert.
Because they gave him 3 color crayons and a blank piece of printer paper and said, draw it for me.
Right. What is this? Oh, yeah, your room's, they'd hold out their hands 2 feet wide and go, oh, your doorway's about that wide? Yeah, it'll fit. No problem. Because people know exactly how big their doorways are when they go.
Or why break out a tape measure?
You know what? Exactly. And so a lot of times that was what we'd have to do. We'd get there, it wouldn't fit, we'd bring out the tape measure and show them there's no way possible. The worst was when you'd have something obscenely heavy. For a while there, we used to carry what were called armoires. They're not as popular now because TVs now can fit on a wall, but a lot of times people were buying these things to use as like a big TV cabinet. They're just a basic giant cabinet that sits out in the middle of the room. And a lot of times people would use them for clothing, but a lot of times it was TVs as well, TV sets. And so often these things would not fit. And it was just a nightmare because you knew it wasn't going to fit when it was on the truck. It would not fit no matter what. You're looking at this thing that's like 8 feet tall, 4 feet wide, and they want it in this little rinky-dink trailer home. It's not going to fit. It won't even stand up. But they would still want you to take it off and try, which I can understand. But the problem is when I try and I damage it and then bring it back after it not fits, then I'm on the hook for the damage that was caused to that. And even worse, what if trying to get it to fit, I damage your house? It's so often, you'd run into these arguments. And I got very good over the years of just kind of shutting that argument down before it even got a chance to really go very far.
Yeah.
And so, but occasionally you would still run into the arguments. You'd run into these people that no matter what, you still had to try. And there was this one time we were bringing in this sofa for this guy, all wrapped in plastic in a bag, and we were bringing it in through his back patio door. And he's like, yeah, it'll fit. And so we get it in there and we squeeze it in, right? And a lot of times when you bring a sofa in, you have to be careful of the legs because the legs could scrape up the door, could scrape up a wall. The soft side of the sofa you don't have to worry about as much. Well,
right.
the soft side of the sofa we brought in against his door. His door, right? Mm-hmm. No way it would have done the damage that he said, but he all of a sudden, we set it down, we unwrap it, and I go to get a signature, and he's like, I'm not signing that.
Why?
Excuse me? I just delivered it. I set it down. That's how this process goes. He's like, no, come take a look at this. And he brings me over to his door, and he shows me where all this old dried paint, and I'll guarantee you this thing hadn't been painted in 20 years, where these flakes of paint had come off his door. He's like, look at all that. Look at all that damage you guys did. Are you serious, sir?
What a dickhole.
Right? And so, he's thinking, okay, it's X furniture company. They're going to pay for it. Not even realizing that asshole, that's coming out of my paycheck now. Any home damages like that would come out of our paycheck. So it was like, you mother effer. You just want something for free, and you're just going to claim damage on a 20-year-old door because you want a couple bucks off. And now I'm going to have to pay for that out of my pocket. Yeah, so you'd run into assholes like that would want something for nothing. And granted, you remember it from Menards.
Yeah.
All the time, those people coming in with those damn coupons. If you didn't have that coupon item, they would blow a gasket.
Why don't you have the free after rebate car chamois? I don't know. Why are you showing up at 8:30 at night after the store's been open for 12 and a half fucking hours looking for something everybody wanted? That
was the worst part of it. Day after Thanksgiving crap, too. Those 4-hour specials that we'd run from 6 in the morning till 10 in the morning. People would show up at, 11. You don't have any more? No.
Oh, no, the best is you get the shoppers that are in there like it's a regular day.
Yeah.
One time at the first store I was at, some guy's like, oh, why is it so busy today? And here's my boss. It's the day after Thanksgiving. Yeah, it's the biggest shopping day of the year.
Right.
Oh, I guess I didn't realize that. What do you mean? What fucking planet did you just land from?
Yeah, what country did you come from? Because apparently you didn't live in America. Because
Right.
Black Friday's been a thing for quite a few years.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't sneak up on you.
So, unnamed shout out to that former boss, who's my favorite boss of all time. Fun fact.
You're listening to Blumpkin&Friends.
What is the toughest thing you ever had to move?
Oh, that would be during that little stretch. Okay, so I worked for a contractor while I was at the furniture company, right? Mm-hmm. I almost keep saying it over and over, and I got to stop myself. But and this contractor basically shot himself in the foot after 3-4 years of working for this furniture company, and we couldn't work there anymore, right?
Oh.
He had other accounts, and some of them were these house moves. But one of the accounts he had was with a company called Sub-Zero. that was the name brand of the appliances was Sub-Zero. I forget the actual company that we were delivering them for, but these are high-end stainless steel appliances, fruit refrigerators, double wide gas ranges. I mean, you name it, really top-of-the-line stuff, but extremely heavy. I had a couple incidences with these appliances, which is part of the reason why I got away from doing those types of moves and those types of things, because I wasn't going to live doing that. One was a huge refrigerator in this really nice remodeled house, kind of in Lake of the Isles area of Minneapolis. I'm not sure if you know where that is, but it's just north of Lake Calhoun. It's actually where like the rich people like Josh Hartnett live and stuff like that.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Right? So it's kind of the really ritzy area of Minneapolis, kind of by Mount Curve, where all the really big old homes, kind of like Summit Avenue in St. Paul would be kind of the equivalent.
Fun fact. There was a head cashier at my first store that would constantly tell me that my brow line and my eyes reminded her of Josh Hartnett. So it's ironic you brought him up.
Oh, see.
No bullshit.
Well,
So of these, I remember a story of a time where you told me you had to move something up a spiral staircase. Wasn't it a couch?
yes, yep. Had to do that a couple times, in fact. Once was on the outside of a building. That was interesting because we were literally hanging out 20 feet over this railing. I mean, when I say leaning, you got your hip against the railing and you're holding this part of the sofa out over in space. That was fun.
Fucking terrible. Who the fuck has a spiral staircase anyway?
Some really old places in Minneapolis, like the ones that have like an outside fire escape or metal fire escape outside and things like that. That was the one I'm thinking of. This one gal, she lived in a condo in downtown St. Paul, and she had a 2-story condo that was all open, and it had a spiral staircase going up to the next level, and she bought a huge microfiber sectional that we put up there. But that was easy because we could just kind of get that halfway up the spiral staircase and then lean it on the overhang and just kind of flip it up and over.
Okay, but you're talking about a fucking couch upstairs.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Exactly. And I would tell people this. Okay, so my biggest argument when people would come to us with these crazy situations, because first of all, I don't want to do it because it's heavy, awkward, and I might damage something by doing all this crazy stuff. But secondly, if I get it up there, how are you going to get it down? Or if I got it in there, how are you ever going to get it out? Case in point, we got to this house that they had went and purchased a new sofa for downstairs, right? And we were going to bring it in, but we had to take the old one out, which is kind of a punch in the gut. I used to hate that part of the job, that we'd get stuck moving shit for people when the room was supposed to be ready to go, but I digress. So anyway, they have this old sofa down there, and they're like, yeah, we need to get this one out here before you can bring the new one in. So that's usually how we got stuck doing this, because we couldn't do our job until we took the old one out. So we go to take this sofa out, right? And we are trying every which angle, every which turn. They have this wall right at the bottom of the steps going downstairs. And we cannot get their old sofa out, no matter what we're doing, which way we turn it. We're going to destroy the wall or we're going to destroy the sofa. And we go, seriously, how did you guys get this in? How did you guys get it in? Did you have a back door? Do you have a side door? Do you have like a window that you brought it in through? And they start kind of running it through their head, and they realize, oh crap, this sofa's been down here for 15, 20 years, and we had remodeled 10 years ago and put that wall in. So they had basically constructed their house so they couldn't get the furniture that they had downstairs out of the house.
Fucking brilliant.
Yep. So we got out of that one by just putting it in their garage, or setting their new sofa in the garage and just saying, well, call us, when you get that wall cleared out, or however you figure out where you're going to get this in there, but here you go.
And then you see that same item at the returns desk the next day.
Usually you could run into stuff like that.
So we're talking about tough stuff to move and the spiral staircase stuff, and I'm thinking any injuries that you occurred over the years, you're bound to strain, sprain, twist, fuck something up.
Oh yeah. For being a smaller guy, it was kind of a tough job to begin with.
Elaborate on what you mean by that.
I weighed, when I started this job, 5'6" now, as I was 5'6" then, but I only weighed like 145, 150 pounds. Most guys that do this job are around 6 feet, 200, 180, 200 pounds. Guys that got a little bit more leverage, I guess you could say. So it was going to be a strain on me to begin with. And the worst part about it is normally if you stuck me with a bigger guy, not a problem. But my boss, I don't know if he was just digging on me, or if he was pissed at me, or if he just was an asshole, which probably was the latter of all those three. He would put me with another guy that weighed as much as me or was smaller than me. There was a friend of mine named Lee little Asian dude who weighs probably about 135 pounds and is about an inch shorter than me. He was sending us out on routes for like weeks straight with no, which is fine. We were both stubborn and strong and we could do it, but after a while your back starts getting wrenched out of place because you can't quite use the same leverage as somebody else who's bigger would do.
Right.
And so, yeah, I've had lower back issues. I had, when I went to the chiropractor a stretch a few years back, they took an x-ray of my back from the front, and my spine literally did an S because I was so off kilter. Like my hip was way out on the right side, and my upper back, where my upper part of my back was compensating for that, and so it was kind of coming back the other way, and it was not good.
So you had pelvic tilt that led to lordosis.
If
I know my diagnoses right. And I've got pelvic tilt, so it's like I have a sway back. If only your boss would have had the wherewithal of me and thought not just to stick you with a bigger guy, but stick you with a huger guy. Yeah. So it's the difference between Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger from the movie Twins. That's what I pictured in my head when you're describing that. Because when you read off your physical specs on your height and weight, I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to tell him that makes him the Carla Tortelli of the whole fucking crew.
Oh, that's all right.
Cheers.
I get the reference.
Because you're a man. And I'm like, well, he's not quite David Spade-like. Oh, Danny DeVito and Twin. That's fucking perfect.
Right.
There we go.
I've been the same size my entire life, so I don't take offense when people...
Like you literally came out of your mom's vagina 5'6"?
Well, maybe there was a little bit smaller then. I don't know. We'll have to ask Mom.
Probably have to throw a few extra stitches in there after the episiotomy.
Yeah, it might have been kind of like a bomb going off down
there.
No, but I'm not offended if you make references as what that was. Not like my entire life, but yeah. But they did, there was a while I was working with this guy named Jarvis who was slow as a snail, but, I mean, he was spitting image of Buster Rhymes. And the guy was huge. I mean, he was just a tank. And so I liked working with him because he would literally carry sofas around the house on his shoulder. I would go into the house, see where the sofa was going to go, come out to the front door, and he'd be standing there with it on his shoulder, just kind of over like a sack of potatoes or something on his shoulder.
What the fuck? Did he play college football or...
Probably, yeah. He played basketball a lot, actually. I know that. But
this guy just sounds like a gladiator from Spartacus or some shit like that.
He was probably 6'3", 6'4", 240, 250. And
Cripes.
Pretty solid muscle. I mean...
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was ridiculous. But, it was really nice.
Did you guys ever play any, sport-themed games with couch cushions or throw pillows? Like, it's a Frisbee a la... Sheen and Estevez in Men at Work when they were throwing trash can lids.
Yeah, we used to do that stuff, especially if you were taking an old sofa out. Towards the end, they had this program where they could pay us pay the company, like $35 for disposal. So we'd have to take old sofas, whatever people had paid for, we'd have to take them back. And a lot of times we would... If they were watching out their front window, they would see us chucking their shit into the back of the truck with no regard for it.
You just got to look back at the window like, what? You fucking gave it to us.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do?
Another disgusting aspect of the job is the whole mattress exchange policy.
Oh, yeah.
So, as I was talking earlier, bringing a new mattress to people, if they have an old set, we are supposed to take it and dispose of it free of charge. That's part of what they paid for in the delivery. You'd have ones that you would just almost want to vomit. You would literally grab and hold with your arms straight out from your body because you didn't want to even get near this thing, right?
Love stains,
blood stains.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there's one. There's a story. Okay. So let's go back to this one. So I was making delivery off of White Bear Avenue in 94 area. Show up with a twin mattress. It's an older home, and knock on the door. This middle-aged guy answers the door, and he's like, oh, yeah, hey, come in. It's just right around the corner here. The bedroom's right here. And we go in, and seriously, first door on the left is the bedroom. Like, oh, this is going to be super easy. So I'm in there. I'm starting to take the old one off, and I notice it's wet. And he's like, yeah, I've had an accident. We tried cleaning it up.
Had an accident?
Well, this is... And I have no idea what kind of accident, mind you. It's just wet. And I'm going, oh, ew, right? So I try not grabbing the wet spot. I kind of pick it up, stand it on its edge, and then I kind of slide it out towards the front door. Well, my assistant, he comes up with the box spring. It's kind of a process. The driver would go up to the door, introduce himself, start taking out the old stuff while your assistant would bring up the new stuff, and it's just kind of an efficient way of doing it, right? Instead of both handling the stuff at the same time, you hand it off. He takes one, I take the one he has, and you get it done quicker. Well, I kind of lean it against the door frame, the front door frame, and I take the box spring and I tell him, I'm like, careful, it's wet. So he goes out there, and I don't see what he does, but he gets it out to the truck. And so he's got the stuff out in the truck, and I'm getting a signature from the guy. And the guy goes, yeah, sorry about all that. He goes, my teenage daughter, she just had her first period.
Surprise!
I'm like, what? Like, yeah. He goes, yeah, that's why there was that blood on it. I'm like, what? Like, I didn't see the blood. I just saw that it was wet, and like I said, you're in the mode of getting this stuff done quick that you're not paying attention. Mm-hmm. And what made this the best was, so I go out to the truck and I tell my assistant that, and he goes, are you fucking kidding me? I had that thing up against my fucking head the entire time when I was carrying it out there. That had his daughter's fucking, period
Menses.
blood on it. Yes.
Menses.
My assistant was just livid, just nonstop. And so, yes, he had some young teenage girl's
period blood.
Adulthood, yes, on the side of his face. That was the same guy that also took a mattress out, and after the fact, the people told him that their dad had died on the mattress.
That's fine. It's not like he's a ghost that's in the mattress and you're going to accidentally get possessed by the spirit of this man through contact. No,
but much like the period blood, when you die, well, not much like the period blood, but when you die,
voiding your bowels,
your body kind of lets loose, and yeah, that's why they were getting a new mattress, is they couldn't get the old one clean, and so yeah, Kyle had taken it out with the surface of the mattress where the guy died and pissed and shit all over.
Do you really do that? Do you really get like some club soda and a rag and then some Febreze afterward? Oh, it's a giant piss stain from where Grandpa died on the twin mattress, and now we got to try to get the stain out because we got to use it for a few more years.
Oh, bitch.
Yeah, I always wondered about that stuff. Because you think about it when you buy a new house, or if like, maybe I'm kind of morbid like that. I've always wondered, like, wonder who's died in here.
I wonder who died in this house, because I'm pretty sure somebody fucking died in this house.
Right?
I mean, when we moved in,
the Beast
brought in her friend, the Bandit, and the Bandit's mom, who's like a gypsy sage queen, and she offered to come in here and burn some sage to ward off the bad energy she felt. I'm like, it's a fucking basement. The house was built in 1962. Clearly, somebody got slapped in the mouth for burning the roast in this goddamn place, and you're not going to get rid of that bad juju. In fact, I welcome that bad juju because you do not burn the fucking roast.
To me, it almost seemed like you'd be one to feed that bad juju.
Right.
I mean, you kind of wallow in it.
I'm sure it has nothing to do with the jobs I've had or some of the people I know or who I accidentally made babies with.
Now go home and get your fucking shine box.
Okay, so the granddaddy category I'm sure that everybody wonders when you're a mover is, did you ever meet any famous people when you were on the job?
I did. Here in Minnesota, I've met more hockey players than anything else.
Well, of course.
But when people go hockey players, they think, ooh, wild players.
hockey.
But a lot of the hockey players I've met were actually just Minnesota-born hockey players that were actually playing on other teams. When I first started out, now I'm going to name off a couple names. I had to look them up.
Why are you holding the paper so far away from your goddamn head right now?
Well, because look, I wrote quite a list of names, and then on the back side
you're
I have
acting like you forgot your reading spectacles at home. For God's sakes, you're almost 40, but you're not quite there. Your eyes shouldn't be going that bad yet.
I do have 20/14 vision. I found out recently too. So I
have 20/40 in my right eye.
Really?
You know what driving at night after it's rained is like for me?
I can only imagine. You can't even see the lines on the road or anything, can you?
Pretty close to being Stevie Wonder at a bumper car ride. Yeah, it's like, oh God, and then I'm trying to read street signs. I have to pull off and almost hit the street sign to read it, and I have to shine my high beams on it. I almost have to get out of the car during the winter to read the fucking thing.
See, I liked your analogy of Stevie Wonder in the bumper car ride, but I'm picturing it just going, man, he'd be smiling the entire time still. I mean, he wouldn't be freaking out. He'd just
fucking
be like...
deer flying over the hood, a tree, a kid on a bike.
Stevie Wonder would be having a blast. So
Stevie's killing children. Speed bumps made of wildlife. I'm done singing for there.
Oh, I thought you were going to go on. But couple
driving as a blind man. I like to do that where I pretend I'm not going to sing and then I interrupt you. I did that to Graham before.
No, I'll just keep going.
Also, my
Waiting.
zipper is open. I've been doing that a lot the last 2 years. I'm getting to be an old man where I can't
Are you
remember
trying to
zip my
fish
plug.
down here? Is that what's going on? I mean,
Well, maybe my farts are coming out that open zipper a little bit easier.
you just want it to go right into your nostrils.
Yes,
Yeah.
or yours.
So, have you ever heard of Dave Tanabe? Do you remember
No,
Dave
I don't know
Tanabe?
who that is.
Do you remember a guy named Mark Stewart?
Did he play for the San Jose Sharks?
He might have. We might have to look that up. But the time I delivered to him, he was playing for Boston at the time.
Boston.
Yep.
The
Mark
Bruins.
Stewart's from Rochester.
Okay, but it sounded like you were going for almost like Rochester, New York.
I know. That's why I said it that way.
It was a little weird there.
But no, he's from Rochester. Dave Tanabe was from White Bear. But some of the names you might recognize a little bit more. Cal Clutterbuck.
Ah, Killer Cal.
Yep, and that was I delivered to him right after the season ended, where he had set the NHL single season hits record.
Did he have a plaque on the wall right by the door? So he's just like leaning on the wall like it's not there. Like, how you guys doing? You ready to bring this shit in? Yeah. You're like, oh, look at that plaque. I mean, what's that for? Oh, this plaque? Oh, this here?
Oh, that's a little something.
I just so happen to have set the single season record for hits in the NHL.
I don't know if you've heard, but yeah. Cal was just moving into this condo in kind of the northern part of downtown Minneapolis. They've kind of rebuilt the area by the river there, and there's some really nice condos there. And he was just kind of moving in. It was him and his girlfriend were there. It was my last delivery on a Friday afternoon, evening type of thing. And him and his girlfriend had already had a couple drinks and were kind of feeling good. So they were super chatty, joking with us left and right. And we had quite a bit of stuff we delivered to him, but he had all his hockey shit just laying in an empty room. Like, it literally looked like he took all of his hockey stuff, hockey bags, sticks, skates, pads, gear, whatever, just threw it in this room. It was all just laying loose.
Here's my takeaway from that visual is that it's all used gear and it stinks.
Yes.
And it's a newer home and the carpet's nice. And he just throws sweaty old fucking junk bags of crotch rotted out goddamn hip pads and stuff in there. And the room just smells like the towel disposal bin at the gym.
You know, I think because he had just put it in there, that's why the house didn't, or the condo didn't reek. But yeah, I kind of got that same feeling. It was almost one of those things where it's like, I could reach over and steal this jersey or this, piece of equipment, but ew.
Let's be honest. A larger man could have done that, but you would have stuffed it in your shirt. And he's like, why did you just double in size?
Right. I will admit, though, he was kind of cool. It was almost like he was kind of looking for some recognition. He knew...
See,
I know he knew that I could tell I recognized
you.
him, but at the same point in time, it was like whenever I met anybody, I didn't want to be overly gushy fanboy type person. You know what I mean? I don't want to be one of those people because I'm here on a professional level. I'm here. This is my job.
Right.
So I don't want to act like a weirdo and just start asking for shit. And that's what a lot of people would say is like, oh, you should have asked him for this. Or you should have asked him for this. And I was like, well, no, I'm there to do my job.
Did you ask him if you could have tickets to a game?
Right,
Because he's never fucking gotten that before.
Right, exactly. You know what I mean? All that kind of crap that I'm sure these people hear regularly. I'm not going to be that guy. I'm not that unprofessional.
Throw him for a loop and ask him
In
to
that
sign your
regards.
tits.
Yeah, right.
Pull your shirt. Come on, Cal. Right here above my left nipple.
Right? Or I should have gone maybe on the trail. Just...
On your ass cheek?
Well, I was going to say just slightly...
Really? Maybe if you were getting Freddie Mercury's autograph.
Just
but
to see
not
how
a
wide
hockey
his
player.
eyes got and how quickly he kicked me out the front door. Like, get the...
Yeah, but what if he was like, God, why do people keep asking me to do this?
Right.
I got to stop going downtown by the 90s.
Right. Do it once, and everybody wants it. So those were the hockey players. Met a couple football players. Do you remember an old tight end for the Vikings named Jermaine Wiggins?
Yeah.
Yeah, I delivered to him. He had just a tiny little townhome, and what was nice about it is we pulled up, and you could read the name on the manifest. You knew you were delivering to Jermaine Wiggins, right? There's no other Jermaine Wiggins in the Twin Cities area, especially back in 07, whenever that was. Maybe it was 08. And go in there, and we're delivering a table, right? And so we've got to take his old table out. We don't see Jermaine, but we see his wife, cute gal, his little babies sitting at the table eating breakfast, and so we got to take this table out. So we take the table out into the old garage, and he has nothing but massive shoe boxes to the ceiling along all, like the back wall, the side wall, just boxes and boxes of shoes, two of the nicest Mercedes vehicles, the boxy Mercedes SUV and like a super elegant Mercedes like sedan in the drive or in the garage. And I'm just thinking in my head going, man, this guy's doing it right. You know what I mean? He didn't spend much on the house. He's probably saving most of that money. Just bought a few nice things.
A few nice things?
Well,
you said he's got a wall of shoes.
Right. Well, that could have been his wife's too. I don't know.
That's still a fucking retarded purchase. You have 2 feet.
Yeah. Christian Ponder.
Oh.
Yeah, that's not really much of a one to say. But what was cool about that when we delivered to him is we delivered like a whole house worth of stuff. He basically just went crazy with the credit card and bought a bunch of stuff. This was before Sam Ponder or whatever her name was. But he, at the time, this was his rookie season for the Vikings. He, at the time, had been living with Kyle Rudolph until he got a place. Yes, and that was the year of the strike. I don't know if a lot of people remember that. That was the strike year where there was pretty much no training camp, and Warren Burner McNabb was your quarterback.
Ugh.
And Ponder was the rookie that they had just drafted. And so he had been living with Kyle. And so we'd been there for all of like 10, 15 minutes, and all of a sudden this U-Haul shows up, and out gets Kyle Rudolph. And both Kyle and Christian start bringing in some of the small stuff that Christian had kept at Kyle's place. And so while we were there, Kyle was just hanging out. And eventually this card guy showed up. And when I say card guy, he was this dude who just came with these long boxes of cards, like football cards. And basically Kyle and Christian sat down at the dining room table I delivered and just signed their names on these cards for like the rest of the delivery. And they were odd cards. They weren't like normal football cards. They were like heavy, thicker cardboard things, almost like a coaster would be thick.
Oh, like collectible stock.
Exactly, like stuff you'd put in like a placard or something.
Fancy.
Yeah. And then, let's see. Who else do I have on here? Oh, as far as TV celebrities, just Dave Dahl.
Dave Dahl.
And Bua Zhang.
It's a lady.
Yes, she's like a little Asian I say sideline reporter, but like street reporter for
right,
like
now
Channel
you just
11.
equated her to Trisha Takanawa from Family Guy.
Well, if the
Thank you,
reference fits.
Diane. I'm standing here next to the movers, and they're bringing in my bed that I'm going to sleep in and get fucked in regularly.
That's probably what it was. He wasn't there, but one of the nicest places I delivered to was Kevin Garnett's house.
Oh, shit.
Yes, this was the year. So I started moving in 06, the job in 06, right? That was the year, if I remember right, that he went out to Boston. So he still had a house here and still was like vested in the area, but he was technically out east. Mm-hmm. And I think it was his dad, or maybe it was his wife or ex-wife, or somebody was still living at the house, but we had to go and exchange something. And this place was incredible. You walk up and it's like something you'd see on like a movie. A huge gate to get onto the compound, I guess you could call it, with a huge G on it for Garnett.
Really?
Yeah.
Fucking really?
You drive in, and it's got almost like a roundabout. It's got a roundabout in the middle of the property where one spur goes off to the boathouse or the guest house down by the lake, which is Lake Minnetonka. It was off of Grays Bay. And then the other spur goes up to the mansion, the white mansion with pillars. I mean, it looked like just gorgeous. But go into the house, he had hardly any furniture. So it was like he spent all his money on the property and then just had kind of a minimalist
dummy.
Yeah. So
yeah, guess what?
Huh.
It's time to play Guess Who Karaoke Roulette.
Guess Who Karaoke Roulette.
Oh, if I lose, you guys are in for a treat. I cannot sing for...
That's why I got the boombox.
Nice.
And hopefully
It'll drown me
if I have to sing with the boombox backer, I better be better than the time that I fucked up Ace of Bases, All That She Wants with Dr. Murr in here. That was grisly.
I think I heard that one.
Yeah,
actually.
It was. I like to forget about it. We have one famous person, 5 clues about them. You get 3 guesses, 3 strikes to figure it out. If you figure it out, I will sing a song. If you lose, you will sing a song. And fuck it, I'm just going to join in because you probably can't read my handwriting. I didn't get anybody to print out the lyrics for me. So before you got here, I spent 20 minutes transcribing it from a CD.
Oh, am I allowed to ask what the song is
I
first?
will tell you when we're done. Clue number 1. 70 years old. Clue number 2, married since 1966. Clue number 3, winner of dozens of awards.
Okay.
Clue number 4, actress, singer, author, songwriter, producer.
Wow. Okay.
Clue number 5. Clue number 5 is always the softball.
Right.
It's like the giveaway.
I hope so.
So, clue number 5. Known for movies such as 9 to 5, Steel Magnolias, and The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas.
Well,
You just used my real name.
you'll edit that out. I know who this is.
Well, that's good.
She's a busty gal.
You could say that.
Yes.
That was going to be the bonus clue. Was gigantic titties.
Yes, she has her own, I think, theme park in, I don't know if it's Kentucky or Tennessee, but it is one Ms. or Miss Dolly Parton.
That is correct.
Ah, sweet! I was worried there because when you said it was she, I went, oh gosh, because I was picturing a man for those first 3 clues.
You win.
I didn't know she was married.
I transcribed the lyrics to a song.
Right, okay, so now what is the song?
I picked Every Little Step by Bobby Brown because it's like my favorite Bobby Brown song because of the choreography in the video.
He has a couple good songs back in that time, and that is a very good one.
I tussled back and forth between My Prerogative and this, and I didn't pick this song for any other reason. So we're going to go to track number 5.
Hi.
I got to get into it. Just picture him shirtless, white pants, and then his 2 b-boys dancing.
I'm guessing some real poorly choreographed little dance,
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Okay, let's see if I can catch my mark now. I can't sleep at night. I toss and turn, messing from the telephone. When I get your call, I'm all choked up. Can't believe you called my home. And as a matter of fact, it blows my mind you would even talk to me. Because a girl like you is a dream come true, a real life fantasy. No matter what your friends might tell you, we're meant to fall in love. And we will be together any kind of weather. It's like that, like that. Every little step I take, yeah. You will be there. Every little step I make, we'll be together. Every little step I take, yeah. I'm fucking one. Every little step I make, not perfect. We'll be together. I can't think too straight. I'm all confused. You must have put a vex on me. 'Cause there are no words I can't explain. I'm living in ecstasy. And you can best believe I got your back. You never have to feel no pain. 'Cause I dedicate my life to you. You'll never look for love again. And no matter what your friends might tell you, we were meant to fall in love. Be together any kind of weather. It's like that, like that. Every little step I make, girl, you will be there. Every little step I'm making, we'll be together. Every little step I take, yeah, you will be there. Every little step I make, we'll be together. Here it comes, here it comes. Every little step. I went falsetto for that one. I hope you enjoyed seeing me sing in front of you for the first time in your life, pretty much.
Yeah, that was actual singing. I was surprised. I thought you were just going to go like joke singing, but you
Oh
actually
no,
belted it out.
I only fucked up the one part. I missed where I was at. The headphones interfere when I'm in the kitchen and I'm like jamming to
Right?
this, or you're in the shower.
Yep.
You got it loud enough that you know when that lyric's coming.
Oh yeah. For me, it's the car. I do so much driving in my current job. So
Interact with the show on Twitter at Blumpkin Show. That is at Blumpkin Show. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/groups/Blumpkin&Friends. I'm the Reverend Johnny Blumpkin.
And I'm Mother Neil Steiny.
Good night. Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true, you're a pal and a confidant. And if you threw a party, well, you invited everyone you knew.
you would see the greatest gift would be from me. And the con attached would say, thank you from Blumpkin and Friends.